Hi guys, welcome back to Art Basics with Miss Karen. In today's video, we're going to talk about one-point perspective, and we're going to draw a city street using that perspective. So go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do when drawing a city street from a one-point perspective is to have a straight edge to work with. So I have a ruler here, but if you don't have a ruler, you could use a book with a straight edge, a piece of paper, really anything that's going to help you make a straight line. And the very first straight line that we're going to need to make is a horizon line that is 1/3 up our paper. So here's the bottom edge of my paper, and this is halfway up. So I'm going to need my horizon line to be somewhere around here. And to make sure that it is straight and my line is not crooked, I can measure up from the bottom of my paper to make sure that it is the same. Alright, so now I have my horizon line. The next thing that I'm going to do is draw the cross street about halfway between the bottom of my page and that horizon line. So if you already have the straight line, you could probably eyeball the next one. Okay, so now we have our horizon line and our cross street, and our 1 point vanishing point is going to be in the center of our horizon line. And so I'm going to put it about here. Okay, so that's the point that all of our lines are going to be coming off of for this project. So the next thing that I'm going to do is draw the building faces on this cross street. So I'm going to draw some rectangles of the buildings that are facing us. And you can make some buildings taller, like this one is taller. And so keep in mind, this is the street, so this is the bottom of my building. And I just made this line to be the top of one building. I'm going to make my next building a little bit shorter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of the lines that I don't need anymore. So the lines that are just being used as extra so that we can see the buildings that we're working with. So I'm just erasing the lines inside the buildings, so that means I should not have erased that one. That's our horizon line. Alright, so now you can see with our street, now we're going to make the street appear to recede into the background by making all of our buildings point to this point here. And that's how we're going to make our buildings appear to be three-dimensional. So you just take the corners, each corner of your building. So here's one corner here, and I'm going to line it up with my straight edge and draw a line. Just like that. So let's finish up with this other line here that we can see. Line it up the top corner and our vanishing point. So now we have the side of our building, and you can choose how long your building is. So my building doesn't need to be very long. So I'm going to end it about a ½ inch away from the front of the building. So let me erase some of these lines so you can see the building. I'm going to keep these other lines here so we can use them for another row of buildings. But now you can see this cube here, so now you can see this building here has that three-dimensional quality to it. So let's do the same for our other three buildings. Alright, now that I've got several buildings on this street that's closest to us, now we're going to make another street that is farther away so we can see buildings that are smaller. So I'm going to make a line that is below my horizon line, but not quite, maybe about halfway in between the back of my buildings and the horizon line. So I'm going to make a straight line in here. And that's going to be my cross street for the street that's getting farther away. And then I'm going to also do the same thing we did here. So the first thing we did was drew the faces of the buildings that is facing us. And so now I'm going to draw that. So a few rectangles, but make sure they're not inside this area here. This triangle is our street. So we're not going to have buildings inside the street. Now, you can design your city street however you want. So you could have, your street ends right there, and so you have a row of buildings so that you can see your street crossing here and it just ends there. But the objective of a one-point perspective is so that you can see the street go all the way back into your drawing. So let's go ahead and draw some building faces on either side of this triangle. So as long as the edges of my building are not cutting into this triangle, we're fine, but you can make them taller or shorter. So there's two buildings that we can see. So now this building already has those exact lines that we need. This one is taller, so I'm going to need to match the corner with my vanishing point and line it up. And now I can draw the sides of my building, so I'm going to give that a line there, and a line there. So now I'm going to go ahead and erase those extra lines we don't need. I'm also going to draw a few vertical lines going down so that it appears that there are buildings that are getting smaller and smaller. So really all I did was draw a few vertical lines like that within those lines. All right, so now you can have some fun adding windows to your buildings, adding sidewalks, cars, because as you can see, our street is getting smaller as it gets closer to that vanishing point. So if you were to draw a car, we need to split our street down the middle, you can draw cars and they get smaller and smaller as they get farther away and bigger as they get closer to you. So you could look up some references of cars and draw that. For windows, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to want to have that vanishing point still. So if I wanted to draw some windows on the sides of my buildings, first first step is to draw the vertical lines. So let me draw a couple of lines side by side. And now, this is going to be my window. I line up my vanishing point, and I can start drawing my lines to show where each window is. And I keep lining up with this vanishing point for every section of window. And these are not evenly spaced out because I didn't measure it, but you get the idea that each part of my building needs to line up with that vanishing point. So those are really, really interesting looking windows. Yep, the architect had a fun time with this building. So those windows are great. You could give them some shading, reflections, and whatnot. For the front of your building, you're not going to match it up with the vanishing point because they are facing us flat. So you would just use your ruler to make horizontal and vertical lines. But if it's on the side of the building, doesn't matter where the building is. So even for this building way over here, if I want to make my windows, so let's see if I can make some better windows on this one. So let's try. Got my vertical lines first. I line up with the vanishing point to where I want the top of my window to be. Draw my line, and that's not bad. So I'll just erase the extra parts, and that's fine. And then let's give it some more lines. Let's see if we can make this one look like a bunch of windows all together. Let's see. So I line up with my vanishing point. Okay, that's not bad. So now I have my windows that are accurate on that side of the building. And this would look a lot better if I measured out each space, but at least the direction, the angle of my lines are accurate. So take your time, design your city how you want, add windows all over, and I'd love to see what you guys do today. Thanks again for joining Art with Miss Karen. I hope you enjoyed drawing this city street with us today. If you want to share your art with me, go ahead and send it to artwithkaren@gmail.com, and I would love to see what you guys did today. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below of something that you would like to draw next time. I hope to see you guys soon.